Body and Bloodlines, What Your Body Carries and What Your Blood Remembers by Terra Wilde. Created by and written by Lynn Lewis. For the ones who learn to carry before they learn to set down. For the woman who held more than their share and called it fine. For the lineage that survived so that this book could be written, and for you who is about to remember. A letter before we begin. Before we go anywhere together, I want to tell you why this book exists. I did not write this book from a place of having figured everything out. I wrote it from a place I was actually in, still in the work, still meeting parts of myself I had not known were there, still being surprised by what my body was telling me long after I thought I had heard it all. For most of my life, I treated my body as something to manage. I thought of it as the part of me that needed to keep up with the rest of me. The mind moved fast and the body was supposed to follow. The heart wanted things and the body was supposed to deliver them. When the body did not cooperate, when it ached, when it bloated, when it gained weight or refused to sleep, I treated those signals as inconvenience, as a problem to be solved, as something separate from the actual life I was trying to live. It took years for me to understand that the body was not separate from the life. The body was the life. Everything I had tried to think my way through was already being lived in my tissues, my breath, my gut, the way I carried my shoulders, the way I slept or could not. And it was not only mine. When I started paying real attention, I began to notice patterns that were older than my own life. The way I braced before certain conversations, the way my stomach knew things before my mind did, the way certain fears arrived unannounced, fully formed, as if they had been waiting in line behind generations of women who had handed them down without explanation. I was carrying memory I had not personally collected. This book is what I learned in the listening. It is for you if you have ever wondered why your body holds the things it holds. It is for you if your symptoms have a similar shape. It is for you if you have been treating yourself like a problem to fix and you are ready to try something different. It is for you if you have suspected for a long time that there is more to the story than your own life can explain. There is. Your body is not broken. The body is brilliant. It has been speaking to you in the only language it has. Sensation, symptom, instinct, exhaustion, hunger, ache. The work of this book is not to silence that language. The work is to learn it. Take your time with what's here. Read slowly. Stop when something lands. Come back to the chapters you want to read again. The voice notes I have placed throughout are for my own life. Not because my story is the model, but because I want you to know I would not ask you to look at anything I have not been willing to look at myself. You are not starting from scratch. You're starting from inheritance. Welcome to the work. Terra Wilde, The Wilderness Collective. Chapter 1. The body has always been speaking. You were just learning how to listen. When the music changes, so does the dance. Your body has been working very hard to hold everything together. Not just today, for years, quietly, without thanks, without much acknowledgement at all from the one person it has been doing all this work to keep alive. It has been holding your shape in chairs that did not support you, holding tension in your jaw through conversations you did not want to be having, holding back tears that would have been inconvenient, holding back words that did not feel safe, holding back hunger when there was no time to eat, holding back rest when there was no time for rest, holding long after the original reason for holding had passed. And in return, you have called it the problem. You have called it lazy when it did not have energy. You have called it ugly when it did not match an image. You have called it broken when it asked for what it needed. You have called it your enemy. You have called it your shame. And have called it almost everything except for what it actually is. Your body is the most loyal thing you have ever owned. It has stayed with you through everything. It has adapted to every demand you have placed on it. It has compensated for every loss, every shock, every period of grief, of burnout, of hyperdrive. It has metabolized what you did not have words for. It has filed away the moments you could not afford to fully feel. It has carried the weight of your history with such consistency that you stop noticing the weight. And it is still here, still trying to talk to you. What the body says when you stop talking over it. Most of us spend our lives in conversation with our minds. We negotiate with our thoughts. We argue with our beliefs. We process. We analyze. We narrate. We talk to ourselves about ourselves so constantly that the body, which speaks in a slower, more quieter, more ancient language, gets drowned out. The body does not speak in sentences. It speaks in sensations, in tension, in temperature, in hunger and fullness, sleep and restlessness, breath that flows easily and breath that catches. It speaks in symptoms when the gentler signals are ignored. It speaks in disease when the symptoms are ignored. It is not being dramatic. It is escalating. Every signal your body gives you is information. Every tightness is a memory. Every ache is a record. Every instinct is intelligence that has been refined over millennia of survival. Your body does not sabotage you. It signals. It remembers. It protects. It holds the things we were never taught how to hold consciously. Your body does not sabotage you. It signals. It remembers. It protects. Once you stop trying to quiet your body and start asking what it is saying, everything begins to shift. Not always quietly, not always cleanly, but truthfully. The conversation that opens between you and your own tissue is the most honest conversation you will ever have. It is also one of the longest. It will outlast every other relationship in your life because it began before you arrived and will continue until you go. The signals we have been taught to ignore. Most of what you have been taught about your body has been about controlling it, discipline it, train it, sculpt it, manage its appearance, manage its appetites, manage its needs so that it does not interfere with the more important business of being productive, accomplished, and admired. This is the opposite of listening. A body in conversation with this person sends small signals first. A subtle tightness, a passing wave of fatigue, a craving that arrives without explanation, a reluctance to enter a room, an instinct to leave one. These are not interruptions of your life. These are the most accurate guidance system you will ever have access to. When the small signals are ignored, the body raises its voice. The subtle tightness becomes chronic pain. The passing fatigue becomes burnout. The craving becomes compulsion. The reluctance becomes anxiety. The instinct to leave becomes panic. The body is not punishing you. It is repeating itself. It has tried to tell you in whisper, and it is now trying to tell you in a shout because the original message still has not landed. When that does not work, the body finds another way. Autoimmune conditions, digestive collapse, hormonal imbalances, sleep that does not restore, inflammation that does not resolve. None of this is random. All of it is communication. Memory lived in my gut, in the food I ate, in the way my body held on, in the bloating that would not resolve, in the fat deposits that did not match anything I was actually eating or doing. For years, I thought my body was simply not cooperating, that something was metabolically off, that if I just found the right protocol or the right diet, I could fix what felt unfixable. It was not until I started doing the actual healing work, looking at the pain, the things I had pushed down to survive, the long list of reasons I had told myself I was fine when I was not, that my body began to heal alongside the rest of me. The gut issues did not all dissolve at once. Some of it was habit changing, yes. But more of it was something I have a harder time explaining. As I set things down emotionally, my body let go of them physically. The weight that I had been carrying, the kind that had nothing to do with food, began to leave. I tell you this not because your body will do the same thing as the mind did on the same timeline. Healing is not a formula. But I tell you this because if your body has been holding something it cannot seem to resolve or release, the answer may not be a more aggressive plan. The answer may be a conversation you have been avoiding. Why the body is the most honest part of you. Your mind can lie to you. It does it constantly and usually for good reason. It convinces you that you are okay when you are not. It convinces you that you are fine without sleep, fine without rest, fine without nourishment, fine without being touched, fine without being seen. It does this because the alternative, admitting what you actually need, has sometimes been more dangerous than going without. Your body cannot lie. It can only adapt. And the more it adapts to lies, the louder the eventual truth becomes. This is why people who have spent their lives in their heads often find healing physically. Not because the body is more spiritual than the mind, but because the body is the part of you that cannot be talked out of what it knows. The body has been keeping accurate records the whole time. When you finally turn toward it, the truth is right there waiting. This is also why so much modern healing returns to the body. Somatic therapy, breathwork, embodied practice, yoga in its original sense, not as an exercise, but as a way of returning. These are not new trends, they are remembered traditions. Every culture that survived long enough to be called ancient knew that healing the body was healing the person. What this book is actually going to do. Over the course of this book, we are going to move through your body the way you might move through a house you have lived in for years, but never fully explored. Room by room, floor by floor, with curiosity instead of criticism. We will look at the nervous system and what it has been protecting you from. We will look at the organs and the stories they tend to hold. We will look at the womb and the hips, the breath and the voice, the skin and the hair, the gut and the heart. We will look at sleep, hunger, touch, and the things our mothers taught our bodies before we had words for any of it. Throughout, we will look at bloodlines. Because your body is not only yours, it is the current chapter in a much longer book. What you carry. You carry partly because someone before you also carried it. Sometimes they passed it down deliberately. Most often they passed it down because there was no other place to put it. You did not choose what was handed to you, but you are the first one in a long time with the chance to choose what to do with it. Practice first listening. Sit somewhere quiet. Close your eyes if that feels right. Take slow breaths. Let the exhale be longer than the inhale. Without trying to change anything. Scan from the top of your head down to your feet. Notice where there is tension, where there is ease, where there is numbness, where there is sensation you cannot name. Do not interpret. Do not analyze. Just notice. Stay there for 1 full minute longer than feels natural. Then, before you open your eyes, ask your body one question. What have you been trying to tell me? You do not need an answer right now. The question itself is the practice. The answer will come in its own time, in its own form. Reflections. 1. What part of your body have you been treating as a problem to solve? 2. What is the symptom you keep returning to? When did it begin? 3. If your body could write you a letter today, what do you think it would say? 4. What signal have you been receiving lately that you have been too busy to read? Your body is not the obstacle. It is the oldest thing that has ever loved you. Chapter 1 complete.